pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Schulte here.
Are you?
Mr. Jones. Here. Mr. Helmer. Here. Mr. Board. The agenda for today, September 10th.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Mr. Jones, support from Mr. Board, to approve today's agenda. Any further discussion? As all those in favor, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Next, we'll look at our minutes from our meeting a week ago, September 3rd.
I don't see anything, so I'll make a motion on minutes.
Schulte. Support. Further discussion? None, all those in favor of approval of the minutes, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. For applications and permits for work in, or on, or under the county trail. County attorney reworked kind of the process that is done for, through the right of way for our secondary road system. And incorporated it into an approach for the trails.
You see this, Nick?
Yeah.
Good with that?
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the application.
We want to do two separate motions approving that as the process is used and then the specific application. Okay, so your motion is to approve the application as utilized here and then we are process, okay? Motion from Jones, support from Helmer, correct?
Yep.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Should work fine. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We have an application using that process for tile through the road, the county right of way on the road, the trail system, sorry.
That motion.
Okay, a motion from Mr. Schulte. Or from Mr. Board. Any further discussion on the application for work on the county trail? All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. So this, just to understand, each time will we have to get formal approval of each application at a board meeting? That's how we're going to approach this.
Do you want to do it that way, or each has an application?
Who would be authorized with that jurisdiction? What's that?
Chair.
I don't know. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm thinking do it like driveway applications. Doesn't make any difference on whichever one we want to do.
I asked it on the trail, would like to see it personally, each application, because each location is gonna be specific. You know, there may be more,
That's right.
there may be a distance where we need a board or something, instead of tearing it all over.
I'm content with that idea, and just so we're telling people the same thing, that when they submit the application, it won't be one I think either way is fine, I just wanted to know that we were all on the same page, just what got done, rather than 2 months down the road, there were 3 of them signed, and well, why was that done?
Yeah.
So,
Sounds good.
okay. You know, we're at 8:50, so we'll move to the department heads. Perhaps Dave will ask the auditor what's going on.
Next week is the deadline for the city and school nomination papers, since it's Thursday, so we're working on that, working on the drainage notices for DD number 43E. Trying to get caught up after running taxes. All that good stuff.
And we did sign up for the
I'm going down,
ISAC.
I'm going down to the ISAC budget school on October 2nd, down in Des Moines.
I'm gonna consider joining, there was a session at ISAC annual conference. That was interesting, not particularly enjoyable that I like to hear about, but it explains how budget process will go now.
The solution says we need the next deadline in the day for to see how the farmers are going to change with the new law and budget changes.
Economic development?
Good morning. Pleased to say we had 2,500 visitors to our website this summer, June to August, nearly 6,000 things they did, which is look at things, click on things, download things. Really pleased with that. I don't know what our numbers used to be, but for me, those are really good numbers. A lot of people still think with a paper. I got a registration for Nick's event yesterday, but hey, it's all good. People are using it. And more importantly, the employers are posting jobs too. So very happy with the summer. Northwest Iowa Development, I know you guys, supervisors, received the emails. Our meeting is next week. Mike Earl is going to be honored as someone retiring from the board. I didn't actually know that until, of course, I wasn't here last month, but that wasn't even communicated at the board level, so I didn't know that. It is in Rock Valley, starts at 5:30, I think dinner's at 6. This is on the 18th, next Wednesday. If you are able to come, even for part of it, certainly you'd be welcome. Let me know if you've got questions on it. No, Mike is able to come, and Lila from my board is going to be there too, and Mike and Mary.
Still too late to sign up for that, I think I forgot. Can you do that for me?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, it'd be good to have you there. It's, good representation from all the counties, lots of different companies will be there, because there's a few awards that we give. So, I think we hope for, 150 people is sort of what they plan for. It's a prime rib buffet, so it should be a good night. Since I was on vacation during the last visit, and get to say thank you again for scrambling at the last minute to come to the governor visit. TFE was really pleased with everything. They were very pleased with everything. Thought it was great that the governor, I didn't feel anything was rushed. We had a lot of time to talk to her, so appreciated that. Just a little development, Snap-on Tools. Chris thinks that they're hoping to be done 100% functional to be location at the end of September. He was a little behind with the weather, but things are at least getting back on track. Been doing a lot of work with the hospital, just trying to figure out how to best help our local employers with workforce, making sure that they have all the information beyond the job itself, about the community. And at the hospital setting, gets asked all the time about fishing spots, people that are considering taking a job. So, as the expert, of course, I was able to answer that, but Nick helped me out a little bit. So working a lot with Ben, he's always trying to recruit doctors, and right now I'm helping them because there's no dentist in town. So we actually had a look through with a potential person that could possibly fill a couple days last Friday. So fingers crossed, because we don't have a dentist now. I think it's been a week and a half, so it's not ideal, but I'm just trying to be a good partner and help on that. Community Foundation, we are starting next Thursday. Sent emails out about our first meeting, 5:30. I've rejigged a lot of things. I'm hoping it makes the scoring and the application a little simpler. I think we're getting about 1,000 less than we did last year. But planning to kind of pull up the next, hopefully opening that application on October 1st and closing on November 8th, but the board will approve that next week, but it's truly, I'll be trying to get things done before Thanksgiving. But hoping with simpler scoring, maybe we'll take it off, for the board that serves, so. Dream Big Grow Here is something that we get involved with the Northern Pride Development. That's an entrepreneur prize contest, for businesses that have been open for less than 3 years, with less than 5 people. There's some money to be won. If you know anybody at all who has a small business that maybe a little bit of grant money can help them, just send them to me. I think we just sent a press release went out yesterday through NCCs. But I think we put 5,000 in as $500 towards that, and there's just about 6 counties that are involved in that, so that's it.
The same as with tax collections, also staying very busy with driver's license and a lot of customers coming in for the real ID, so see what's that for this month. Taxes are due September 30th, so.
She cracks a pretty big whip.
I just wanted to make everybody, I share with you.
This way.
Conservation.
We had our last major holiday for the summer. They're usually the 3 busiest weekends for us, I guess. We've got our parks, and it just so happens that Labor Day is now usually on or before the start of our hunting seasons, because we have the dove season and then the early teal season that start on September 1st. So we have to try and get our parks ready and then make sure that anything that is eligible that we think teal or doves might be at is kind of whipped up into shape. Labor Day did have great campground usage, and we talked about this at the Hawkeye Point meeting last Thursday. Year to date, the Hawkeye Point total campground revenues this year is a little over $5,600, which is considerably higher than it has been in years past. So, other than that, we started new canopy for the shade canopy at the Ellabrook shooting range. It's all framed up. We've got to find a day where it's suitable to get painted, and then we can get the steel on it and get that wrapped up. There's been monarch programs in the last week, I guess, and they're going to continue for the public. We've had it at Hawkeye Point. Lee wrote in, or somebody had asked, and we did have 8 people show up for that. Just go out and tag monarchs at Hawkeye Point. And then there's another one for the nursing home and the first graders this week. Women in the Outdoors, which is going to be hosted by the Osceola County Conservation Board, is this Saturday, September 14th. I understand this is the Iowa State game also.
You are aware of that?
I am aware. I'm aware of that. I don't think that we have any control of when the date gets set, but registrations are a little slow coming in. So if you know someone that maybe doesn't care about football and would be interested in coming out to some Dutch oven cooking and canoes and kayaks and shooting some guns, send them our way. And then we have a Hunter's Ed online field day, September 21st. That they usually run from about 9 to noon, so anybody that works in their schedule, this is usually one of the 2 we do. We do one in the fall and one in the spring. So you have to be 11 or older in order to take the class, but your certificate does not become valid until you are 12. And then lastly, I guess I did meet with Mr. Clausen, and we went out and looked where he will be digging up that tile. And I guess we kind of came to a joint conclusion that, well, he didn't seem to think that it was going to be a problem. I disagreed with that. But what he said he would do would be to take, and before he gouged out anything, he would take and try and collect as much of the rock as he could that is currently on the trail, and then separate it out, dig down. He was hoping he didn't have to dig a very big trench to get down to the bottom of the pipe, and then he'd put the pipe in, repack it, and then take the rock that he collected and put it back on the edge of the trail. There's a possibility that we're going to lose some of it, and we might need to purchase and place more on there. I would say, judging by the grade, and I believe that would be an additional cost. But in talking with him, he said $1,000 worth of riprap is gonna go a long ways where that is. So I don't know, do you want to authorize me to make that decision, or somebody else, or how you wanna handle that?
I think they authorized it last time, because we had this discussion, didn't we? About maybe needing some more rock and stuff. That we did, but that's fine. Do it again.
Well, we were under the impression it was figured in.
Oh, okay.
You're closer to it than I am, so I see no shit.
Authorize Aaron to make that decision? Or Craig even?
Yeah, I think Craig was about to.
Craig is definitely the judge here.
We'll figure it out.
Probably not eligible for that grant money you're always trying to use.
Don't worry about it.
No, I guess I'd like to see, provide the oversight and get it back to where it's stabilized as best that's needed. We're on the hook for that. Be my thoughts.
Don't look at me.
I know.
I'm done.
Here's my.
Yeah, we're not having a lot of clarity in this here conversation.
I just recall we had this discussion and then we had a discussion that there might need some extra rock and there'd be over and above that amount, and as the board took action on it. That was a while ago, it was like a month ago or something, but that's what I recall, but, yeah. Or maybe Rochelle knows too.
Brought up on the minutes, but
Yeah.
it says to approve the concept, little bit.
Okay. I thought I made that statement because I could see, I saw that was gonna be a need, as part of the work out there, but I had that discussion with the board. Made that motion. I could be wrong.
I'd like to see provide the oversight needed to make sure it's back to in good conditions, and if there's costs associated with it, we'll have to get that covered.
Yep.
So we approve the contract.
Okay. Some things I could see, maybe some gravel or sand or something for bedding maybe, for the pipe possibly, that's depending on the soil types there, and then possibly some larger rock to stabilize the slope a little bit. So I could see them needing.
It's clear shoulders.
Thanks.
I ain't asking no hard questions.
Good. All right, then let's move on to you.
Yeah. It's a pretty normal month. We have 4 guys going on an honor flight a week from Saturday. I think there's still 6 signed up yet. Had a guy come into my office who had come in 3 years ago. His dispute was with the Army, wasn't with the VA, it was with the Army, something that happened 26 years ago. I didn't know anything about it, so I made a lot of phone calls. Everybody told me you're wasting your time. You're not gonna get any change that happened 26 years ago, but we did it anyway. So the vet came into my office yesterday with documentation from the Army that they granted his request. So, never know.
Good work.
Wow.
So you are doing something.
It's hard to come up with that. Maybe it's the truth, Jerry, you don't.
I got a pretty good idea with you. Engineer?
Yeah. So the state of Iowa put together a large grant with all the different counties and all the municipalities on a bunch of different bridges statewide, and one of our bridges received funding, through the feds. So we got federal aid, it's the bridge right over here, by the, going out to the city dump on Olive Avenue. So, and it was a 55%, contribution from the feds, is what it looks like it's gonna be in the end. The rest would come from HVP funds, or highway bridge funds. So yeah, that was kind of a nice little chunk of money that looks like we're getting. That'll probably take place over the next year or so, you know, the replacement of that bridge. Big thing right now is we're working through FEMA and getting ready for a bunch of inspections too with them. So FEMA is kind of the top priority right now. Completed paving on the HMA resurfacing project. They're finishing up shouldering as we speak. So that's close to finalizing out. Chip seal project obviously was completed. Another crew's coming in, they finished all the crack sealing too on the remainder. We have about 38 miles left over that haven't had any surface treatments. All the crack sealing's been done on them. There's a crew coming to do slurry leveling to level out the joints on them. And I was hoping we might get lucky and be able to get those chip sealed this year, but it'll probably be in the spring. And we have a crew now back, and they're going full at it on bridge repair work. So we're trying to get as much of that accomplished as we can until it gets too cold. And we're, our guys, you know, gravel roads, maintaining, a lot of mowing now, getting back into it because we've got most of the gravels mowed, and now we're going on to the paved road again, paved road system. We've been trying to keep that mowed really nice. We're also getting the spray truck going again now, because now we're getting to that time of the year where we can make the biggest impact on weed abatement and control. As kind of things are getting into their early frost cycles now coming up. So we're trying to deal with that, you know, shouldering, cleaning ditches, installing driveways, ongoing, tile work. Yeah, and then Tyler Avenue project, you know, the grading job is completed, and yeah, I'm having concerns still now about Goverson Smith, because he's telling me one thing, but I'm hearing other things through all the grapevine. And I have a feeling that we're not the first priority. So we could have that discussion too. One thought is we may want to consider having a discussion about, and maybe with Goverson Smith, are you serious? Are we gonna do this? Do we want to look at reassigning a contract? You know, we want to go talk to the second bidder. I mean, these are things that we could have a discussion on. I've already started that conversation anyways, just so that I can see where it goes. So,
But your concerns are that the season will get away, that it won't get done.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, more so.
And that they're just gonna keep on telling me, yep, we'll be there in a week or so, and never show, and say, yeah, it'll be another week or so, and it'll be another week or so, but it isn't gonna happen. Because I think what's going on is they went and booked themselves up with a bunch of DOT work on the interstate, and that probably has a lot more stiff liquidated damages, and so we're gonna be lower priority. I think that's what's going on.
Do you know what the liquidated damages are, just out of curiosity, on DOT projects?
It depends on the size. It's based on size, contract value. But I can tell you right now, it's thousands of dollars typically.
And ours is what?
Because you know, they're probably dealing with like a $5 or $10 million project out there. And so I'm just guessing like it's probably like $1,000 or $1,500 a day or $2,000 a day, somewhere in that realm. Ours is probably like $250 or something, $300.
So if they don't get that done, we stay with them in the contract and do it next spring, they pay $250 a day all the way till next spring?
According to the contract, because it's an actual completion date. There's no like stipulation that they get free winter work or anything like that in the contract.
Do we have a say when go time is done, the 1st of December?
Oh yeah,
or?
it's specified in the contract,
Okay.
like completion, what it means. Yep. That's completion, has to be open to traffic and all that, so.
No, you're asking whether they want to start December.
Yeah, if they want to start when it's freezing, can we say, no, you're not gonna
Well,
start?
by specification, they can't you know, pour on the frozen ground and all that kind of stuff too, so there's things that would restrict them from that. So, I mean, I guess theoretically, if they could tile off the ground and control the environment and heat everything and get everything so that it met specification, theoretically, they could do that, but that's pretty darn hard to do when you're paving in Iowa in January. It's almost impossible. I mean, with a bridge, it's different, you can contain that more, it costs more money, but you can do that. But it's more controlled area.
Because Wayne Schulfeld in a conversation.
Yeah, he's been having the exact same issue. I think he's been involved with this too. He's been writing letters and actually, yeah.
Anything else we can do, Nolan? I'm willing to participate in the conversation. We sit down with the contractor and have a conversation about what's going on. I'd have to look at the contract again in terms of what remedies we might have outside of liquidated damages. City besides looking at a few different contracts that Aaron has done, I'm not exactly sure which one we have or when this one was executed, so I'm not sure what kind of language we have in it precisely. Certainly can look at that contract again. $300 sounds right for liquidated damages per day on the contracts I reviewed with Aaron. So, you know, having participated in that conversation, having to explain to the company how, you know, we don't know what our damages exactly are going to be. Liquidated damages are a way of estimating what those will be, letting them know that, you know, hey, there could be other consequences to your decision to not work on our road for us. In terms of leverage, I think that's pretty much what we've got. I don't know what their exact position is relative to other contractors, but like I said, I'm certainly happy to participate in that conversation and explain to them what's going on and where we might go if things get bad. Besides that, you know, and letting them know that we're willing to rewrite the contract to go through that process again, and that we're very open to doing that, you know, I think that's kind of what I can provide. It just seems like we're in a bad spot with weather and how busy these contractors seem to be.
One thing that I'll discuss with Nolan too, to find out, I've never done this before, but, you know, how if a contract could be mutually like reassigned or something, or we could have because we do have a second bidder, and they might have the availability to do it. Now, they're not gonna be able to complete it by October 1st, because we're already sitting here in, you know, mid-September. But it is possible that somebody could come in the month of October and bang it out, potentially.
Make sure that Rise Grant still qualifies, don't we, find a way to reassign.
Correct, yes.
Have that line down under sheet cross.
You're darn right. That's the other side of this coin.
But, yeah, I would want to go further legal advice and review before we take any steps beyond the daily.
I'm gonna call the DOT.
Review of the eligibility for the Rise Grant, is that what you're saying?
Or just the process as a whole, if we're going to
Yeah.
look at another contractor or another direction to get this road done, we don't want to just say, we don't trust you guys, aren't going to show up, so we're moving on.
Yeah.
I want solid cases so that we have the right check.
I can look into that, and Aaron, if you want to send me the contact of the person you've been working with for the Rise Grant, I can reach out to them and talk with them if you like about that.
We can even do it together, because I'm gonna talk to Jennifer about this specifically. I mean, there might be some ways we could get around it, but she'll be completely in the loop if we do anything like this. And she'll have her blessing. Yep.
Schultfeld needs to be
Oh, yeah.
leading us as much as anything too.
Well, it sounds like he's done a decent job with keeping these guys accountable as possible, I guess.
But yeah, big picture, it's obvious now that October 1 is out the window. That's not even a possibility anymore. Even with Gobbers and Smith, I mean, it's beyond that point. What they told me on the phone, but I think it's just blowing smoke. He said that like end of next week they may come in to do, putting down the base material for the paving, the grading crew. I don't believe it, but that's what they told me.
Have you brought anybody in from Kingston yet? Talk to the guys about their health insurance?
No, from where?
Kingston. So we had this
Is
conversation
Kingston that?
about 8 months ago.
Okay.
And I got contacted by some of the guys in the secondary road crew, and I can't answer all those health insurance questions. So we had talked about you bringing them in, but it was winter time, and it wasn't conducive to bringing, because you guys were so busy, and you were gonna bring this guy back in, well, we're coming in on winter time again.
What's, so how does this thing work? So what's Kingston exactly?
That's where we get our health insurance from.
Is that like the thing that?
The thing that your guys weren't able to come to get the description of how all this stuff works,
Yep.
that guy was from Kingston here to explain that all.
Is this what pays the deductible and all that?
Yes.
Is that how it works? Okay.
So all the questions that they had about health savings accounts and all the rest of the stuff, the guys from Kingston can answer, so you need to get him booked at Janessa Safety.
Who is this guy though? Like,
Jason's got the contact information of the auditor, he's got.
We got the emails a few weeks ago, it was reassigned to someone else.
a different company? Okay.
So just get it.
Yeah, if you could send me that information, I can coordinate that with the safety meeting or something, it's not a problem at all.
But that needs to get done soon. 'Cause I don't know why that hasn't happened up to this point, but like I said, I can't answer these questions. I can give them a rough idea, but I thought you were gonna already have.
I remember having discussions about this with my guys though, back in, a long time ago, but back when, earlier on in this whole process. But
Yeah, and you were gonna bring that guy in to explain how all this stuff worked, and I've been contacted for the last couple months. And I'm like, well, did the guy come in and explain this thing? Well, nobody ever came. So, I'm like,
Why can't we have them call Kingston or Secure Benefits directly? Well, in addition, I'm not saying the guy should.
we put some stuff out on this a long time ago, but I'll go look back and look into this too, and I'll coordinate
I
that.
don't care how you do it, but
Yeah.
nobody gave them that number or anything else to send them anywhere, but since they missed out on the meeting that we had, because they were busy doing whatever they were doing, and you deemed that they didn't have the time to come to that meeting, they still wanted to have somebody come and talk to them about it,
Okay,
so.
we'll see what we can do about that. I don't know what, I have to go back and look at what we gave them back in the past. I know we had a discussion on this in detail with my guys too, but, okay. No, I'll get that number from Rochelle and we can, follow up on that in more detail.
Thanks.
Any other questions or any guidance regarding, I'll just work with Nolan regarding the contract with, Goverson Smith.
I'm not gonna say I told you so, but when I asked about making that deadline tougher, everybody said, no, we shouldn't do that. Making that at that $1,000 a day.
No, you brought this up, I know exactly you brought that up, and you're right. The one downside to it too, though, is when you do that,
Yeah, they bid higher, yeah.
you're gonna pay for it. Those DOT jobs they're doing are a lot more expensive than ours. I bet you they are. That's the other downside.
From the attorney came in after I moved around that way.
Late in class, sorry. So, big things in this last time I was down here was that we did succeed in our jury trial 2 weeks ago. Got a conviction in that case, and so we're all really happy about that. That was a long couple days. Glad we got it all, at least that stage of it's over with, and let our victim and her family can move on with their lives, and we will get on to the next one. So that was nice to have. Last week we had juvenile court day, that was pretty busy, working on a variety of civil things, some of which are on the agenda today. And, since we didn't have a magistrate court day the last 2 weeks, we have a pretty busy magistrate day today. That's about what I've been involved in recently.
Any further? Since I looked at the schedule, is there any that provided the duties today? guys. Briefly, we have the review of the tax suspensions and abatements, presented by our treasurer.
Yep, I have one lady that does qualify for tax suspension, they're only suspended until the house is sold. So, I mean, they can be suspended, but once it's sold, they have to pay those back. And then, she qualifies under that code 42759. Sam, leave it left. I forgot my papers in there. And then also, the tax abatements are for the Tyler Avenue project. That they will only be exempt next year, just because they were recorded late, so she had to use the valuation from the year. Those will be exempt next year, she can consider not paying them again.
Action approving both the suspension and the abatement to be done in one motion, or one separate consideration?
You can do
Okay. I'll make that motion. Mr. Helmers for both. Support. Support from Mr. Schulte, providing suspension and the abatement as requested or identified by the treasurer. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Next item, discussion of ATV ordinance. Tabled until today. Concerns still remain on what we're actually doing to review the roads and their fitness for these types of vehicles. And just as the manufacturers indicate, they weren't designed for road use. The only other thing with the draft we have would be the point 2 about carrying firearms. Some question that if you have a legal permit to carry and concealed carry, or whatever the case may be, question if that's.
And how do we handle that, Nick, as far as, handicap? Is that a whole separate deal?
Yeah, I'd say.
Usually we do a permit process for that, right, Nick? If
Yeah.
they wanna hunt on our land, and I think, I don't recall from the language we put in that permit, when we did this last time, in the language, it said that that was like implicitly said it was a modification of our rules for permitting people to use our lands. So if somebody's handicapped, yeah, I think that the process we have in place would allow for them to be able to carry that. And Jason, I think, I can only be here a couple more minutes, I gotta go do a magistrate trial, but I think that I could look into whether it would be permissible to change that language. I'm open to changing it. I think that the concern I expressed to you earlier about that being a sort of, I hate to use the phrase, but slippery slope to people having the ability to hunt a little easier with their ATVs, having the ability to just carry a gun on their back. I think that's kind of the reason why a lot of the other ordinance I saw had that in there, that you couldn't be carrying uncased firearms, couldn't be carrying concealed. Like I said, I can look into it, and if that's something that you don't want to change, if it's okay to change that, we can change that. It's just kind of one of those things where you look at examples, you know, there's probably a reason why those weren't there like that, but I can look into it.
I would check the DNR hunting regulations on that. I think something might have changed in the last year,
Okay.
where if you're operating a vehicle as like in the act of hunting, your firearm must be unloaded in a case. But I believe if you're carrying a concealed weapon, like your concealed weapon permit allows you to carry that.
Yeah, I certainly see a distinction between hunting purposes.
Yeah.
For somebody that has some reservations with saying, no, you can't be in any case.
Yeah. Which I guess that's a fair distinction, kind of wanna split out there. If you guys have any other concerns, just let me know and look into them and get you guys a revised draft. I wasn't really sure what we were gonna do today, but thanks, you guys have a good one.
Thank you.
I never did get a copy of that ordinance, or the one that Nolan drafted. You don't have an extra copy, do you?
Email you one if you want.
Cool.
Sure.
I really don't have a problem with any of that. Are we gonna address, are we gonna have a license involved in this or not?
Like a permit.
Yeah, permit fee or something.
I would. Also,
Maybe just, what's that?
I said I do, I'll see what kind of sticker for sure.
Yeah. Maybe just we'll collect something for it. I don't know, did you ever ask anybody what their,
And if nobody got back, so we'll check, we'll bring it on there.
Thank you.
I said with the register, they'd have to pay registration fee, but.
Gonna do that with criminal deals,
yeah,
if we do something
with
like that,
license.
yeah. I mean, there should be some kind of a fee.
Because it says, that they have to be properly registered.
And some people don't, they're not gonna ride them around here, they don't buy the truck. We didn't try to take action on this today.
I'm not prepared to, unless there's a motion or not.
I'll make a motion to accept this, what it is. Almost everything.
Have established a registration process or cost, though. Code section requires certain things. We have a motion from Number, does that support, Leroy?
Yes, that was,
You have to review it, what, 2 times, 3 times, right? Starts away the second, third reading of the ordinance.
Maybe I could add that we, use the same registration process as snowmobiles. You buy a trail pass and that's it.
Just got off the phone with the ticket from county recorder. And that registration fee is the same no matter what county you're in throughout the state.
Okay.
It's all dictated by the DNR.
Oh.
So you have to have it registered and filed in order to get the permit sticker to be able to drive it anywhere off your property. Unless
So is it a different figure or is it the same
it's
figure?
29.
Yeah, it's just like a snowmobile.
Yeah, it's altogether, she said it comes out like $35, but it was like $11 for your title, registration, yeah. So it's the same no matter where you go. And if you got it here, you can drive it there. So it's good everywhere.
I make a motion we accept this with the DNRs, whatever you call it.
Registration system. And I talked to somebody that had theirs registered here in Osceola. I don't know what that gets you when you register it here. I guess you'd have to ask Deb what she's handing out stickers for on that, but.
You can drive them on public water, like ice fishing. Like if you would take your
okay.
ATV ice fishing over at the lakes, you have to have it registered with the state of Iowa.
And if you're gonna, this is probably South Dakota, but if you're taking it to South Dakota, you have to have it registered. Not, otherwise you can't get to even the trail pass on there. Without having it registered.
So, yeah, that answers that, it's DNR dictates it, so. So Deb probably already has all that stuff already over there and ready to go.
So do we need to have to include that then in that, this ordinance then?
The state provision, I don't know if you'd have
It
to.
has to be registered, so it would be utilizing the required administration by code. Any further discussion? Understanding that we'll likely face further considerations as an ordinance, but this will be first. All those in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Aye. Conflict of interest policy.
Right, policy, plan.
differ on how we do it, I still maintain the parents' item is, it is beyond what state code requires, and it becomes difficult to know what your parents are involved in, to know where conflicts lie, so I still remain opposed to that being included, but it has passed in previous years. We have it for reconsideration annually. Action on
I think the motion to leave it as it is.
motion to approve the conflict of interest policy, or reapprove, however it's going to be worded. Further discussion? All those in favor signify with aye. All those opposed, same sign. Aye. I'll just remind that we are to document and disclose known conflicts annually as well, in addition to signing that sheet. 8, my number 8, discuss possible building or purchase of a storage garage. Potential closed session, Iowa Code 21.5 on 1J. The advertisement is being prepared, or hasn't
Yeah,
gone out?
it hasn't been sent out yet.
It hasn't. Prepared to potentially construct the building, as was discussed previously. We're on to the fact that there is a building just south of town that maybe we're considering.
Do we want to go to closed section first?
Do you think it qualifies?
If we're talking about potential purchase of the property, I think it was.
I'm not sure, so.
I don't know what it does, it depends how we talk about it. We're stating a price we're gonna offer, I don't think it qualifies for closed session.
What was no one's 2 cents on that?
It says that where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price of the government on the lot. I don't think if we say we wanna offer X, it's gonna likely increase the price, so I don't think it qualifies. That's an example. Depends. Discussing which property it is and what it's listed at, I don't think any of that is reason enough to go into closed session.
We don't know any prices or,
Yeah,
we do,
165, I think it's, or something like that.
but then it has to be revamped.
Yeah. I guess I'd rather see us put up storage sheds and leave the ambulance where it's at because the location, what was it? Most of the calls are in town. It's more convenient for all the ones on call to get to.
And it's set up where it's heated.
Well, I think it's all gonna depend on the dollars.
Yeah.
I think this discussion was to move the ambulances over. But that building was gonna remain for the ambulances, this was for impound and evidence things for the sheriff's office and potentially storage for secondary roads or engineer's office and other, I didn't recall the ambulance being moved as part of it.
Well, I think the discussion was both ways. Because to me, just for that's why I think just storage buildings is all we need.
That's the way
Because like,
it started out.
yeah, because impound lot or whatever, it doesn't have to be heated, it doesn't have to have a concrete floor. It's nice, but
And secondary roads is where the storage building is, I guess.
So we're talking about at the ambulance site currently, right?
Yeah.
We're also looking at some other potential location, in a different location?
well, we're just talking about.
Talking about, okay.
It's already up here for sale.
Yeah, there would be some small benefit to secondary roads to have a place. Ideally, it'd be as close as possible to courthouse, ideally, in a perfect world. It'd be as, across the street, but I mean, you can only get that as close as you can. So one logical location, because it's not too far away, is the ambulance shed.
You guys push snow down there anyway, don't you?
So,
Or does the city? I know the city does right away in the morning.
I think so. Basically, sometimes we can help by cleaning up, but it's not like the first priority, you know what I mean? 'Cause it's not a secondary road, but I think when you come back in, you might accidentally put the plow blade down,
I know the city goes right in front,
Yeah.
so the ambulances can get out.
Yep.
If they do that.
Is the secondary roads at all thinking in the future of doing anything?
Well, I mean,
I
honestly,
think that talk's
we
been
need-
there, isn't it?
yeah, I had a discussion about that. Even one thought I've actually had for just in general is possibly, building, just parking stalls here at the courthouse, like with maybe the secondary road crews, like where we could pour concrete or something. I thought about that too. But that would have to be in more discussion with the auditor and a whole bunch of stuff. But I thought about that for like in the years ahead. The big picture that we need is we need to do something for our shop in Sibley. Expand or start over. That's not easy. That's a bigger issue. But it is a necessary thing too. But that's a much bigger issue compared to this stuff that we're talking about.
Because right now, we just need some parking is what we need over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, is there here?
Yeah, it is.
I was gonna see if he was busy this afternoon when we're done here. Go down there and just rearrange stuff, because there's stuff sitting in that shed that
Mhm.
should have been thrown away years ago.
The ambulance shed you're talking about?
Yeah. If we can just make some room to get all the vehicles inside for the litter.
He's done some rearranging. You got the trailer in there and the vans in there.
Okay. But I know there's still stuff in there that should be thrown out. Because why
I
they
think
hung on to
the EMA trailer, my recollection is when we received that, we had agreed to house it inside. Beyond that, I don't know that we have to provide a garage for EMA or the assessor's vehicle.
No.
If we're needing room for county vehicles, I think they would get priority, and when it's available, I'm not opposed to it, but we're not the only members participating in an EMA and the assessor's office, so those would be the first places I would look, but
Because the other thought I had was Doug's got that shed down there, it doesn't look good. I'll be the first to admit that. But when I was in there, the biggest thing I was storing was bicycles, it was full. One of them, give them to the school, tell them to give them to kids that need a bicycle. And put that EMA trailer in that shed, see if that'd be okay with Doug. Then we'd have room again.
where does Doug store the impounded stuff and evidence and stuff? That was part of the original push, was that we needed to have secure environment for him.
But there'd still be room, plenty of room in there for a car, for even 2 cars in there.
But, Jason, I guess your question is, where does he keep that stuff now?
And then we need to do some repairs to that building, because it was leaking, which I understood is what started the conversation. But then we go back to repairing that building.
Now I see cars just sitting outside down there, and that's why we put up cameras, so we can keep an eye on them.
I keep saying, I don't know the procedures, I don't know that you have to keep cars inside, but
If
at
it's
times, I suppose, certain situations do require it, I don't know for sure.
there are situations, because if it's an accident with personal injury, then you want it inside, where nobody can mess with it.
Well, we're kind of jumping around, aren't we? Didn't we first talk about concrete and everything, but if we're only gonna put up a 6-stall, non-cemented garage, it'll probably be within our budget, what was it, 75,000?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're not gonna put, but I thought, once we originally talked about it, we're gonna concrete it and do everything.
And we've talked both ways. I'd like to see the concrete.
I mean, if we're gonna concrete, then my thoughts are, if we're gonna concrete and do all that, then maybe we should look at this, for instance, because it's already done and it's heated and then possibly be used for something. But if we're just looking at a storage shed,
Then you don't need that.
we don't need concrete.
I think just storage is basically all we need.
I think we just,
Even like the county car, it doesn't have to be set in a one shed. It's nice, but it doesn't have to.
Depends on what you're gonna put in.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's solely just a vehicle, you don't need it.
yeah.
I mean, you don't need it, you know?
How much is it secondary roads willing to contribute to this process to get some of the storage area you were hoping for?
I think it's whatever whatever our portion would be that would value,
Yeah.
that would benefit the secondary, that'd be utilized by the
Because as the
secondary.
building
road department.
grows, but we haven't increased our budget, we need to look to where else.
Well, it's really not where you can utilize it either, though. I mean, you can and you can't.
So where are we talking right now? Are we talking about the ambulance shed now, or are we talking about somewhere else? I know the location, you know. So,
Ambulance,
yeah,
up there.
it's an acceptable thing. So like me owning a stall there, a large stall, that would be a fine, it would be okay. It'd be okay. But, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, in a perfect world, if there was like something right across the street, I'd take 2 stalls easily. Then I'd take and if it was heated and all that, I would for sure. And then I'd actually store more stuff
So
in
if you
there.
had stuff right across the street, what would you put in there?
Well, vehicles and also maybe even equipment and stuff too. But it depends on what it is too. Is it heated? Is it controlled? You know, all that stuff matters. You know, if it's just unheated, and then it would just be a vehicle. That's all it would be potentially. That would get put in there.
Yeah. Last week,
Stuff that wouldn't be sensitive to.
we talked
the
about
elements.
advertising for a new building at the ambulance garage site.
Mm-hmm.
It was mentioned that this building south of town is available. Is it something we want to really consider? I think if we go into closed session to talk about what do we wanna offer and what would we be willing to go up to with a range, I think that qualifies. If we wanna say, they're asking this, let's offer that, I don't personally think that qualifies for closed session. If there's no interest in that building, then I don't think we need to go into closed session.
For me, I don't have a big interest in that one. And a big part of it is its location.
location and city redone.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's all gonna depend on what our bid is.
Mhm.
If we come in with $150,000 bid on the building, then personally, I think that we should consider it. If we come in at 75,000, then I don't even think it's a consideration.
Then my thought process would be, as soon as they know we're looking at spending $150 for a building, they're not gonna wanna sell for much less than that. I guess that's where I can see. I don't know.
This one right on the south edge, right on the county road there, just south of Jed Lowe's, across the road.
Yeah.
I agree with you, I understand what you're saying there. I don't know what's the best timing and way to approach it.
Well, you're kind of a realtor, so that, what are your thoughts?
Looking at the dimensions of what you were talking about last time with the size of those doors, I don't know that you'll get it done for 75,000.
Just the building, I think, possibly you could.
Yeah.
I'm not talking concrete, I'm just talking full building. I think you wouldn't be too far off.
But how many doors do we need? I don't know.
Are you gonna insulate it?
I wouldn't think so.
We went from, how big is the building there that's basically junk that and now we're talking,
That's just I don't think it's as big as a well, yeah, I'd be a 2-stall garage. I would guess.
Only got one door.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of putting up, like a 4-stall garage or what?
Yeah, 4 or 6 or something.
Okay. Are you looking at going high enough too, 'cause you want height on the doors, or what would it,
How big a doors do we need? I don't know, if we're just gonna store cars and pickups, then no, there's 7-foot doors.
depends on what you're putting in there, absolutely right.
I mean, I think you could come up with, whatever the dimensions you wanted that, so everybody knows what they're pricing out.
I think we did.
Somewhat, yeah.
It was quite a bit bigger, didn't we?
Yeah.
12-foot.
Yeah, we went 12-foot
It was
doors.
40 by 80, is that what we had?
I think that's,
But if you're just gonna park the car, 30 by 80 would be nice,
yeah.
the 30 by 60.
It would probably end up being just a completely shared, open thing too, right? We're not gonna have separate stalls that are locked up or
Yeah, we should have separate stalls,
locked with everyday separate locks, everything, okay.
because that way the sheriff's department does have to put one in
Yeah.
if they can.
You had 8 by 40 with 14 sidewalls,
Yeah, then we were talking the big doors.
6 stalls.
And that means they're not connected either, like they're completely separate? They'd be completely separate, like you couldn't
Each
walk,
stall would be separate.
and you can't walk between them, I mean, they're like separate, you know what I'm saying?
It could maybe in a couple of them, or,
Yeah.
depends what you're using it for.
Exactly.
My thought would be all open and you put up a fence between the
Yeah.
ends, 2 stalls, so that the sheriff's office would have
Secure area,
a secure area.
And the wire mesh.
yeah. Well, big picture, I could see that, okay, if you guys decide to do something like that, you know, maybe the secondary roads could have 1 stall, so we could park something there. You know, the assessor maybe have a stall, and then the rest go to all EMS or whatever they need for all, that could be a way to do it. And whatever that is, just take a percent, you know, if it's 1/6 or 1/4 or whatever that is, you know what I mean? That's fine, I'd be fine with that, as long as it's cheap construction. Yeah, probably keep it cheap, keep it cheap.
Personally, I think you'd be better off not to have a stall there.
Probably not.
Focus your
energy, your energies and your funds on.
down the road a few years and,
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
Well, I mean, as long as it's really cheap, you know, it's not like a big cost thing. There's still some side benefit. It'd be nice if it was across the street, but, yeah,
But if you put stuff at the fairgrounds and,
yeah.
you know,
I know, it'd be nice to finalize something there too, or form over.
and back to the stuff that we gotta know what we're talking about for a new building, that's my opinion.
I mean, it's reasonable, it is, I mean, Tony already owns it, it's already there, you know, I mean, there's some, it's reasonable in a sense. It'd be nice if it was right across the street from the courthouse. To be honest.
Well, if we went with 14-foot width on the room, that'd be 84 feet for 6 of them. And if you went 30 feet deep, that should be great plenty.
30 feet deep, but you can't get 2. You just have a lot of space in the front, and
Yeah.
You would, you did a
Storage,
big
unless you wanna go 2 feet deep, then how long is the car?
you really would have to go that deep.
you know, a long truck, you get about 20 feet or so.
If you were 24, you could give you enough room to put junk in front of it. That's what it amounts to.
Yeah.
And if you go 24 by 84, or sidewalls up 10 foot,
Yeah.
it would cut the cost down quite a bit.
What are you thinking the bay width would be like 12 or 13, 14,
14 feet wide,
14 feet.
yeah, that'd be 84 feet for 6 of them.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
And yeah, and how deep do you want? 24, 30, I don't know.
24 would be minimum. Then the question is, if you wanna go deeper, then how much deeper to make it, like, do you wanna actually be able to stack? I mean, cars aren't as hard to stack, small vehicles, you know, but, you know,
I know my garage door was 28 feet, 26 feet deep. And by the time I had my pickup in there, you don't have a lot of room there.
mm-mm. No, you don't. Yeah.
I'd almost say 84 by 28. You guys think I'm nuts, or?
We talked that before.
That's what I figured.
I would say if you want to go deeper, that would, that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Put a force wall and
Yeah, 'cause you could always add on to it if you want. If you had to.
I'm still back to price.
Yeah.
What's it cost?
Mm-hmm.
We've only got 75,000 budgeted, don't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna get ideas all over the map if we don't tell them what we're looking at.
Then go what, 28 by 42, go to a 4 stall.
I don't, I mean,
Just, we'd almost have to have 1 stall for the sheriff's office. Because just in case they do get a vehicle, it has to be sealed up.
Mm-hmm.
the more we talk, the more confused I get. Is this gonna be a sheriff building, is this gonna be?
Just 1 stall, because we'd be taking his shit out.
So then what are we, we're just building it to replace what we got there, or what?
Basically,
For
because
the sheriff.
I think what started this whole thing is that roof was leaking in that building, and the way it looks. I think that's what started this whole deal.
We got for bid for roofing and siding it. 15,000 okay.
I think we got just for the roof, we didn't get a bid for the whole thing.
What do they have in yet?
Let's just set a figure on size of the building and see where we're at. I don't care what size, just.
Yeah.
Get a starting point. And then we'll go 4 stall, and then we can always, if it's cheap enough, you add a stall or 2, whatever.
And I'm back to, yeah, it'd be nice to have you guys be part of it, but I still think you should focus on, when you're thinking about a new shop someday, or focus your on a new shop, that's my opinion.
Figure too, and then in the new shop, I'd like to see your office in there.
That'd be definitely an option too, actually. But yeah, the question is too, that the big picture is the existing site feasible to continue building on there, or is it actually, is the better decision long-term to actually start somewhere else?
No, that's gonna take a lot of discussion.
I know, and it's, the biggest thing it takes is planning and saving and money, you know, no matter what we do. Right now, I'm trying to get through on our maintenance on our system, and get things caught up on it, and then I'm gonna try to tackle that one. So, Yep. Yeah. So that, I mean, I can be a part of that, especially if it's small and doesn't take a big burden, you know, 'cause I think the more I think about it though, like it'd be one stall and it'd be that kind of percentage and hopefully be a small amount, so it wouldn't be a big breaker for me.
So what are you talking as small?
Well, I think it is probably best that we have the room to store one of the engineer's vehicles there, and it's not being utilized, so that it's not sitting out on the street, you know what I mean? But then the other option too, that would probably be cheaper and actually maybe benefit the courthouse better long-term, is we could pour a parking area for county vehicles in here. We could do some work in here and actually make like diagonal parking stalls. You know, maybe relocate that little tree right there, you know, put in like stalls like the auditor and, you know, and have a bunch of parking stalls right there, so they're not on the street all the time, you know, and off business hours. That's another thought I had. I could even do that at County Cruise, you know, when we're slow or something, make it a little private, you know? Maybe the courthouse funds some of the materials and we do all the labor, you know, all that kind of stuff. It would get pretty cheap to do something like that. And add a lot of parking spots for like county vehicles.
We can see everybody using it.
What's that?
You can see everybody using it.
Well, I could see the auditor having one right up front, you know, and then.
The public, I'm not gonna be in there for 2 minutes.
Oh, I know what you're saying, but we already have those other stalls for that. What you could do is, these ones could be posted, you know, auditor, you know, like official vehicle, you know, and then you could, maybe you even have an extra stall for the public too, a 5-minute one at the close to the building or something, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I ain't for that idea at all.
Oh, you're not? That's fine, that's fine. Mhm.
We'll have to price it out for 4 doors and
Yeah.
then you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Install deep each way. What's one install deep each?
30 foot or 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, price off, right, you're exactly right.
It's beyond me to, tell me what you want in the first specs when they.
Four stall.
So 84 by 28 for the first one.
30 by
And then
30 by 80.
8 door.
84 by.
30 by 84.
30 by 84, okay.
And then the second one would be
30 by 42.
30 by 42.
And you still want 14-foot doors then? No. Just normal size, 8-foot?
10 foot at the lowest, isn't it?
I'd say
42.
8 feet.
That's only 10 and a half.
No, I mean, the height of it.
56 for 4 stalls and 14 per stall.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, you're at 56.
And what are the sidewalls?
I'd say 10 would be plenty. Go over.
I think
There's
we're
7 over.
gonna accomplish most of what we'd be.
Yeah. And we'll 8-foot doors.
So 30 by 84 or 30 by,
I figured it out. 30 by 56. Yeah, still be 84 feet from that. 30 by 84.
And the option, that'd be a 4-stall garage with an option to add 2 stall or to have additional. 30 by 86.
this would be the 6 garage.
30 by 86 would be 6.
Okay.
I think the base would be 30 by 56 for 4 stalls. We have looked at an option of having.
We're going to stick built building or just, like a Morton or something like that, or steel.
Still will get for bids.
Yeah.
They're gonna wanna know what they're bidding on already,
Yeah.
so what can I tell them
Okay.
or?
I think a steel building would be less maintenance.
I do.
No, you're talking pole building or stick building,
Yeah.
which are the cheapest. However they want to do it. If we've got
You
poles
understand
up,
that?
they'll get pole building, they want to do stick building.
Here.
Don't make a difference for us.
Either way, it was.
Stick building, you're gonna have to have footings, and pole building, you're gonna have to have any footings.
And then concrete, door,
Not just for storage.
crushed concrete rock, from the landfill, that's your rate.
So a steel building or a pole building?
Either or. Yeah, we just provide the dimensions and they provide what they
Building.
would build.
Okay, so just provide them with the dimensions and they tell us what they would bid?
Put it in the paper.
I mean, are you looking this fall yet? Are you waiting till next spring?
No,
Or
next spring.
what?
I'd say next spring.
Do you think the prices would be good if we did it now for next spring? Or they'll have to
They
keep?
don't wanna get on under God's time, I
Give
don't
them
know
the
why
option.
we couldn't, but.
Give them the option.
Plus, at least it gives you guys budgeting capability, to know what you're dealing with for costs.
If you don't
even
put
if
it on cement,
you have to-
that helps.
If they wanna do it this fall, yeah, that's fine with me.
Maybe that shouldn't take too long, even that part of concrete. It don't take long, so it's going up.
You don't know how busy how their schedule is.
They're probably gonna ask you to show, concrete with a door.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have something for the door set up. You know, concrete, approach or whatever you wanna call it.
I'll just have them talk to Ernie.
Yeah.
I'll get the specs ready and the ad ready, and I'll send it out, you guys just can review it before I put it in the paper, does that sound okay? And you can let me know what I need to change up. I'll ask Ernie and Nolan, just make sure it's okay.
And Ernie's gonna find the cheapest one.
So then what about the driveways and the ambulance shed connect, can we work on that on the east side of that building, or what? You know,
Once we get the building up, then we can work on the driveway. Shave it down and maybe throw crushed concrete or blacktop.
Are we gonna have to tear the old one down before we put the new one up?
How big is your building gonna be? We shouldn't have to. You think it'll fit between the two buildings? The new building is facing west, right? Or which way do we, we don't know yet.
We don't know yet. I don't know what this
We
meant.
don't even know where we're gonna set it. We're gonna talk about, we should talk about that.
Well, if we leave that existing building, then you're gonna have to face the doors to the west. If you take that building down, then you can have the building facing north. Because there's no room in between those two, you put it,
I thought we were gonna get rid of that ugly building.
to the,
I thought we were gonna get rid of that ugly building.
right. If you get rid of that building, then you have room to put that 6 cars tall in between those. But, you know, whether you want to face it west or north, I guess. Yeah, that's up to you.
Yeah.
Can go either way.
Both of them are less than desirable.
Yes.
South and east is better.
The only thing good is the straight shot line pushing snow to push everything out to the east. Yeah.
Well,
It's really
gonna
good.
go either way, you push it to the south. If nothing was there.
But,
I guess I'm trying to visualize this whole full site in my mind right now.
Who does that snow? You?
Yeah, we got a couple passes in front of the current building, you probably go south of it if we went
Yeah,
further east of the current new building.
from the garage, the existing garage right now, everything from there goes south. And then anything beyond the garage, to push it in.
We should get an eyeball on it and really look at it.
I don't know, it's just, my memory, I'm just thinking probably face to the west.
That's how I envisioned it.
That's how I envisioned it too, just from what I remember the site to look like.
There's too much, I don't think they'd wanna keep the existing building there, so, cause then we're still gonna need to do some maintenance on it.
The only thing we'll need to do is, if you face it to the west, you're gonna have to build up that site. That's the whole site.
Yeah, you do have to build it up. That's the other question too, if we're gonna use footings or not too, do you want this building not to move at all, you know? Stay where it's at?
Right.
And if you are gonna do any paving, you know, or any type of improvements on that lot,
Because right now, you're looking probably 4 or 5 foot down.
probably the most economical thing you can do for, if you're trying to improve that as like a, area that's not a lower maintenance surface, would probably be to, make sure there's good drainage, both like surface, but even sub-drainage if necessary. Build it up with a hefty, like rock type base that's beefy, and then we could chip seal it, like a double chip seal. As long as you have good drainage, no, I'm serious, that would probably be the most economical.
How far is that moving from the street? Why don't we just put it on the back side and come in from the, no.
Yeah. But that'd probably get you the best bang for your buck for serviceability and cost.
We'll find out on the building first and then see what happens. Like I said, you're
Sure,
about
time.
5 feet below grade.
If you place it where, Ernie?
Excuse me?
If you place it where, your pipe?
If you put it on the east side,
Yeah.
yeah, go to.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You're 5 feet below grade, that's how low
At
it is.
least.
5 feet?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's probably even some drainage there, isn't there?
It all drains into that area.
Yeah.
It's that low?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's a little spot back
It
there.
drops there, I know.
If you put it on the south side, you still have to do that. It's not as deep. But you'll have to build it up there.
It's interesting, I didn't know that. I've been out there, really, I haven't looked at it closely.
That's what I'm talking about this. So the price on building, we'll decide where we're gonna set it.
Yeah.
So for 2 weeks again, then like we talked, and then still want to discuss it then on the 8th, if you want to push it back to the 22nd of October, what's your thought? Yeah, the paper next week will be the 18th and 25th.
Yeah, do it on the eighth.
On the 8th, okay.
I'll be down there Wednesday.
Okay.
Claims.
We had to add a couple that actually we forgot to put in.
That's a hard choice to make.
I know, holy cow. Thank you, gentlemen.
What's the PO box one for?
That's for, the Bay Bank, or the treasurer's office, for the mail,
Yes.
or also for the post office box. Who's that, what name is that under? Yeah, that's their post office box, their mail sheet, they have to get their mail every morning. They do, everybody else does, she's always got her, the mailbox, at the post office box. It's been like that forever.
Why do we have
For one off.
I don't know. We had an ADVIT fund. That was for somebody that passed away in, Melbourne. And they used the body and the autopsy fee.
Is that monthly or yearly?
Yeah, yearly. Credit card bill, that's all credit card bill.
Who's credit card?
Everybody's,
Oh, everybody.
yeah. Conservation, ambulance. Countywide credit card.
I haven't seen, Jason, do you have a separate one in here? Do you have a separate one in here? I would make a motion on the claims.
We have an asbestos analysis done.
What claim is that?
460. We still have buildings with asbestos.
Yes, general basic.
Conservation.
I'm just guessing, I'm thinking.
You burn a house, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't inspected.
Dealing with all those minor aspects.
Yeah, for Lowell property.
Everybody's usage of the county card.
Credit card.
Are they separated out?
It's separate.
Yep,
You separate it.
by fund.
Not by department.
By, no, general basic pays one, under one check. And then every fund has its own. I think she has it broken down by fund, like each department's on there. Ambulance and county attorney, our office, conservation.
Do you know what number? I mean, like, there's 1,200, and then there's quite a few, and there's 1,100, and then there's 60.
Oh, that's the line item that they're taken out of.
Okay.
So 36, that's ambulance, 4 is county attorney, 99 is that department, so 22 is conservation. That's the recorder's office, 51 is the courthouse,
Okay,
and
okay.
then that's that
All
department.
right, all right. Thank you. Seventy?
That's, Dan Beekler. I have the credit card form for all here,
I was,
yeah.
claims. Further discussion? All those in favor, signify with aye. Opposed, same sign.
Get that one signed too.
Yeah. Yeah, he would say.
Any further, gentlemen? Consider adjournment.
Make that motion.
Melmer, support from the board to adjourn. Further discussion? All those in favor, signify with aye. Those opposed, same sign.
What's next week?
This is a short meeting to discuss, we have to have the bond sale.
Oh, yeah.